Welcome back. Now, MTN has had a tough first half. The devaluation of the Naira, coupled with operational issues in Sudan, has led to an interim loss of 7.39 billion rand, the mobile operator's first loss in 8 years. ICT analyst Dobek Pater from Africa Analysis joins us now with his assessment of this performance. Dobek, thank you for your time and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. And good afternoon to all the listeners.
Brilliant. Thank you. Awesome. I want us to maybe spend some time putting Nigeria and South Sudan aside and really looking at these numbers, before some of those macros. I think, there are some gems that emerge from the performance of MTN over this period. I'm just keen to get your thoughts on that one.
Right. As you indicated, unfortunately for MTN, it is an operator that does operate in some of these precarious markets, precarious in the sense that they are not always stable, not only politically, but also economically. And, that's one of the things you need to contend with. But if we put aside I don't want to call them problematic, but the countries that have contributed to those results, ultimately Nigeria, Sudan, also Ivory Coast did not do all that great, for instance. Overall, I think the performance has been quite good. It's been it is a decent performance, and there are aspects of MTN that are very positive because they are indicators of good performance in areas where MTN is positioning itself to expand its operations to a greater extent in the future. And these are areas such as fintech, for instance, mobile financial services, also digital services, increased consumption of data. So, it is trying to move itself or position itself to play a greater role in what could be called XTech services, those future services that are going to be delivered, now are being already delivered using data bearer services or the underlying telecommunications network in the case of MTN. Also, not to, I think, belittle it, more on the traditional telecommunications side, also it has shown good performance in South Africa, but also in a number of other markets in its business operations. And increasingly that is more than just a traditional mobile component. It is fixed telecommunications, fixed network telecommunications, and delivery of IT services across that, including cloud services, which is where effectively the business world is moving towards into the migration to the cloud. And it just means that MTN is able to leverage its operational abilities, its skills in order to expand its activities in the business market as well. That hasn't always been the case in the past. In the past, it did struggle in that area, but over the past couple of years, we have started to see much better performance of MTN when it comes to the business market.
Also,
business as in business users in that sense, enterprises.
I hear that, and I think it's also very interesting to also look at the state of their balance sheet here. They've got, I think, a 1.6 times ratio there, which does tell me that even though they might not be in the best time at this, the best spot at this time, Dobek, their balance sheet is strong, and often strong balance sheets are good in times when the business isn't performing as well as it can.
The balance sheet is good. It is a strong company. It has incurred more debt. I think it's up to about 40 billion rand equivalent, I think, in debt that MTN has. But it just means that it's, one would assume, but it's also, the results bear, I think, witness to that it is investing the money wisely in areas that are likely to drive future revenue growth for the company. Increasingly in the telecommunications business, in that industry, you need to be a big company and have a strong balance sheet. So if we look at a market or a country such as South Africa, for instance, which is one of the more advanced technologically in Africa, certainly in sub-Saharan Africa, and specifically in the infrastructure that we have on the ground in the country. you do need money to be able to continue building out your infrastructure and providing services across that infrastructure. And we have a lot of, in South Africa, we've got a lot of small players, particularly in the fixed line telecommunications arena, small fiber network operators, where we are going to see market consolidation because they just don't have those balance sheets and access to that capital in order to continue building out the digital and broadband infrastructure. And MTN is one of those big companies in South Africa, but also across many markets in Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, where it is able to continue expanding its presence, its physical geographic presence, and delivering good services. And that includes, importantly, expansion of fourth generation mobile, the LTE 4G network infrastructure, as well as the incoming 5G. We have it in South Africa, but it's only emerging in other countries in Africa, and it's an important technology to play a role in the future in providing high-speed broadband connectivity to households, individuals, other public and private organizations in order to be able to function fully in the digital world that's emerging. And MTN is one of those companies that is capable of enabling that. But you do need to have deep pockets and the ability to leverage that your balance sheet against that.
Another interesting one coming here, I think, is partnerships that they've come on with. I think a Showmax partnership, a Disney Plus partnership. It does tell me that, MTN is also looking to not only sweat their assets a little bit more, but get creative, and I'm keen to maybe also just touch on how such partnerships do assist in the customer acquisition strategy.
So this is part of the digital services that MTN provides. It has seen quite strong growth over the past year in that category, albeit from a low revenue base. But it's something that operators, including MTN, have tried over the years to, and not very successfully, to provide content services. This is another attempt to be able to leverage content services, films, other videos, entertainment mostly, but could also be business educational products, in order to lock in customers and gain new customers to develop greater loyalty. So number one, through those partnerships with DSTV or with Showmax specifically, first of all, what it does is to use the MTN network and data services to generate additional traffic by delivering that content. So MTN benefits by being able effectively to sell more data, use its network to a fuller extent by providing those services. But also it can start bundling products. So things such as fixed LTE or fixed 5G plus fiber to the home, for instance, and bundle that with content so that a user, MTN customer, just buys a package. It has greater value because you end up paying less money ultimately than buying these products separately. Okay. But also it's you become, as far as MTN is concerned in this instance, you become a single service provider, a single point of contact for these different services. Yeah. And in the future it will include other smart services for that customer. It makes just life easier from a billing perspective, from a household individual operational perspective. So MTN hopes that by offering these types of products to its customers, it will be, number one, able to lock them in because it will present a certain value and gain more customers that it doesn't have on its network yet.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have. Unfortunately, it's all we have time for today. Thank you for your time and also for unpacking a rather complex set of numbers for us today. That was ICT analyst Dobek Pater from Africa Analysis.